Live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's Nooganomics with David Tulis.
The ML King March will take place today in Brainerd at 3. The story at TV3's website says it's going on as scheduled, and there will be due recognition of this slain civil rights leader's contribution to the cause of the black man, to the cause of the minority in the South and around the country. My name is David Tulis. We're brought to you by the P5 Preparedness, or the Prepper Store, with Duke Nukem, who has a great show here every Thursday at 11 o'clock, just after the David Tulis show. And there you'll find everything you need for being prepared, whether it's having a kit in your car or food stored by in your garage for parlous times, as they used to say, difficult times ahead, where the traditional utilities, the traditional services are suddenly chopped off for a day or two, maybe longer, and you have resources available to you for personal protection and the maintenance and health and safety of your family. This is David Tulis, and that, again, is P5 Preparedness. Also, make sure that you take the Tennessee Handgun Permit class from Carter Shooting Supply and Range on Highway 58, and be a subscriber there. You can have a very inexpensive year access to that range for all your family members, sons and daughters, and your 18-year-old daughter will be delighted to get that 22 caliber automatic that you have thought about buying for her, and are now going to go ahead and make that decision to buy that very, very fine Taurus 22 caliber automatic for that gal who is making her own way in the world and wants to have a little bit of personal protection. There is a publication that you may have seen about if you eat out or if you go to a hotel. You've been at the car change, the oil change place, and at the doctor's office, you've seen coffee news as well, and eating out, as I mentioned, and your wife's, actually your aunt, your aunt who goes to a hairdresser, sometimes picks up a copy of Coffee News. It's free. It's on the familiar brown paper, and it's run by a couple of former law enforcement people out of Whitfield County. Randy and Venessa Cole have been running Coffee News as a franchise since 2008. Venessa used to be with the Whitfield County Sheriff's Department and was a crime scene investigator, and Randy was a patrolman and continued to be a patrolman for a time after the couple had bought into this media outlet with which you are familiar here in Chattanooga and Hamilton County. The Coffee News appears at 580 outlets across the area between Dalton and Chattanooga. So we're going to hear about how this couple got involved in it. Venessa, what made you decide that your career in law enforcement was coming to an end, and that you needed to do something else full time?
Well, I just wanted to own my own business. I've always wanted to own my own business. And after being in law enforcement for about almost 13 years, we looked at starting our own business, and actually came across Coffee News, looked into the business plan of it, and realized that it's totally different compared to carrying a gun. So,
well, what did this company offer to you that you couldn't have done on your own? What made it attractive?
Well, one is not having no experience. I have a background in law enforcement, and I have a criminal justice degree. So it gave us the emphasis that the support that we wouldn't have, would take us a long time to learn. So
what?
For example, their business plan, through some of the trainings and stuff, they actually teach you how to go out and do sales and to set up the locations, how the networking goes and things of that nature. So it was all really interesting to us, because being in law enforcement, that's nothing that I had ever done. So
now, Coffee News has an unchanging design. It's a 3-column format on a 11 by 17 sheet of brown paper. In column 1 and column 3 are the advertisements, and down the middle there's, you might say, the news content, and that's what you have in the middle. Do you sell the advertising? Is that right?
Yes, sir, we do.
Do you handle the production of the document as well?
We do. Our corporate provides all the content, which is funny, good news. We have a little local what's happening section for that's local nonprofit community events. And then we sell the advertisements down the center, and we actually print these in our office every week also.
Now, there are several days for distribution. They're not all printed at once and distributed all in one large effort, right? It's the effort to get this newsletter to outlets takes several days a week.
Yes, sir. Yes, it does. Because of there are over almost 600 locations, it actually takes 3 different days to deliver those. And we actually partner up with the Orange Grove Center, and they help deliver 4 of our routes.
Well, what do Orange Grove people do exactly, and who are they?
The Orange Grove works with developmentally disabled adults, and they actually have a personal coach that goes with them into locations. It gives them a purpose, and it also helps us, get our papers delivered, which we are very fortunate and very blessed to work with the Orange Grove Center.
And the people who receive this little stack of newsletters every week, they know they're Orange Grove gal, right, or yes. Guy. And Orange Grove receives some compensation for the service it provides, coffee news.
Yes.
Well, tell us a little bit more about your this time when you were full time as a crime scene investigator in Whitfield County with the Sheriff's Department. You said you wanted to do something different. Well, talk a bit more about that period where before you made the jump, before you said, okay, I'm quitting. That's a very difficult moment to face.
It was a very difficult moment to face because of going from college straight into a job where you know that you have a check coming in every 2 weeks, and then taking a leap of faith to go out on a business where you may not, it may not work. When we started Coffee News, it was in January of 2008, and that was right when the economy was about to go down. So we did take a big leap of faith, to go out to start Coffee News. Well,
did you live off of savings? Because when you start a business, usually you don't have enough to cover the business itself for some length of time. Tell us about the funds from which you lived and the funds from which you ran Coffee News in that early period.
Sure. We actually had been saving for a couple years and wanted to do something. We just didn't know what. When we ran across Coffee News, we knew we wanted to own our own business. We actually had about 8 months of savings in the bank, and then also enough to start to start the business. So we were very fortunate of that. That is one thing that I always talk to people whenever they talk about starting their own business is, make sure you have a plan in place and don't just go out to start, make sure that you actually, do have savings and stuff, because a lot of times the first year or two, you're going to be forking out a lot of money.
Well, 8 months doesn't sound like much padding from which to live. Was that enough? Was 8 months of savings enough to live on while you started the business?
Yes, it was. Because my husband didn't initially quit full time.
Okay, so
he continued to work. So it was just me that was replacing my income.
Now, how long did Randy, whom we met recently doing distribution, how long did he maintain his position as patrolman?
It was 5 years after we started the company. Then he left and came full time with me.
And what prompted that decision for you and Randy to say, okay, we can drop the full-time job now and focus 100% on this business? What happened there?
Well, when we initially looked at opening our own business, our goal was, when he hit 25 years in with the sheriff's office, was to lock in his retirement at that time and for him to come in full time with me or to get another job. As you know, law enforcement is very dangerous, and he, 25 years was plenty enough for him. So he has a pension then with the sheriff's department. Not that he doesn't draw until he turns 60.
Okay, but he has the guarantee of a pension at 60.
Yes. He actually could have left a few years before that, but he wanted to get this 25 years in, and then also let us continue to save more. Now,
the Coffee News is based in a company out of Bangor, Maine, that, as you said, provides the content. Say something about its terms, what it expects. Say something about the non-compete agreement that you signed in signing on.
Just the Coffee News, it's fun news. It's totally different than anything that you may see here local. It's little fun tidbits of stories from all around. It's got quotable quotes, trivia, horoscope, little fun facts in it. And that's one of the things that we agree that we do not change the content on it. It specifically is different, and that's the whole purpose of it being the way it is.
Well, would it not be maybe to the advantage of the owners of the brand to have local discretion on what is published? For example, you could have a college student, or maybe a young student in your church or in your neighborhood to provide summaries of local news or headlines that would maybe grab the listener. For example, I'm looking here at the Hickson edition from January 12th. The main headline is "Everybody's Talking," and so that doesn't really tell me what's beneath it.
But that's the way that the content has been. So that is something that we agreed to when we bought the franchise, that we cannot change that. Yes, it would be good if we could insert some of our own local stuff, but that was under the understanding that we took on that whenever we purchased the franchise.
And what is a non-compete agreement, and what did the non-compete agreement with this Bangor, Maine company say for you and your husband?
Well, just that we couldn't change the content.
So. And then if you left the business, though, you could not create a parallel business that would compete against it.
That's correct, because they have a trade dress on this layout. The business has been around for 27 years, this company. 27
years. This is David Tulis. We're talking with Venessa Cole, who, with her husband Randy, runs Coffee News here in Chattanooga, and outlets all the way down to Dalton. You'll find Coffee News in attorneys' offices and dentists' offices, at garages, oil change places, hairdressers, restaurants. It's in 580 outlets in the whole area, and it takes 3 days for her husband Randy and a crew of young men and women from the Orange Grove Center, four teams, to distribute this free publication that you find there in the brown paper. Well, what kind of advice would you have for my listener who's thinking about starting his own enterprise? What are some of the considerations that you gave careful attention to when you and your husband thought of launching this franchise here?
One of the things is plan. Make sure that you, one is you save, and you make sure that you have adequate enough savings. But then also talk to the Small Business Administration. They are wonderful. They were big in helping us get going. And then also, talk to other people in the industry. Research specifics of what, type of industry you're in. So if you're into advertising, speaking to those, we had no experience going into advertising. And I tell people, if it's something that I can learn to do, anybody can, which I'm pretty self-motivated too. So
what's the advantage? What advantage should my listener think about? He has, in this way, he has a business, and he wants his business's name to come before the public. You can help him do that. You're a publisher, and Coffee News has it's 2, 4, about 8 or 10 spots on each leg. So it's a three leg document, and you have 2 rows of advertisements on the front and the back. So that's how many ads per?
32 ads per paper.
32 ads per paper. So what should my listener, if he's thinking about advertising, what does he need to? What do you advise him to do in the document that he creates that he then sends to you for publication? What are some tips?
Yeah, one of the things that I always tell our clients is make sure that you don't put 100 words into the ad. With ads, kind of look at it as you want about 7 to 10 words per ad. And the reason for that is because if it's got 100 words in it, people are just going to overlook it. We actually say in advertising that white space is king. So if you actually have more, in our sense, brown space, then that's actually going to be better because it's not going to be real jumbled. Sometimes, though, that when our clients call us, though, they have rules and regulations because they're corporate and they can't change anything. So we work with that. We understand that. But we work with our clients to make sure they get the best bang for their buck.
And there's an advantage for the advertiser in Coffee News to have a longer term agreement. Rather, it's cheaper per spot if he pays in advance for 6 months or agrees to a year term, right?
Yes. If you pay up front for a year, then yes, that's the best.
Well, what would be an example? Let's say Blue Turtle that has dry skin care medication and offers free shipping with a $35 purchase or more. What kind of terms would a company like that get with Coffee News? What are the advantages as far as price goes?
They actually have a year contract, and they're in all 6 of the editions. And so they pay up front for the year, so they get the discounts.
And of course, as a small businesswoman, you want people to pay up front, right? That's
Absolutely.
a great benefit to you to be paid up front. There's a huge discount. What was the discount for a prepayment for a year?
It's 5% on each ad.
5% on each ad. Okay. Well, this is David Tulis. We are here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We're brought to you by Wimpy's. I believe Wimpy's in Saudi Daisy has coffee news. One you have to get to still, Venessa Cole. Wimpy's is the gathering place in Saudi Daisy. It's a restaurant that's positioned next to a little shack. And in that shack, there's a meat broiler. And David and his dad, David, are often cooking meat there. Great for sandwiches, great for your potato. And great conversation also to be had at Wimpy's. If you sit at the main table where the country folk, the small town folk decide the town's fate and future, you will certainly meet new people and come to appreciate the slow drawl of the small town American. If you're from Germany, here to rescue Volkswagen from its emissions crisis, make sure you go to Wimpy's and learn how Americans do. It's well worth the ride to Saudi Daisy, deeply Southern. There's a meat and eggs at dawn, breakfast or omelets, and then sandwiches and soup or salad at lunch. Wimpy's, the gathering place where everything important is hashed out in a little town here in Hamilton County. Also, we're brought to you by Ducks, the indoor air professionals. This is the outfit that cleans your ductwork under your house. And if you have mold and mildew problems, it may be the reservoir for these microbes may be in your ductwork. Have that inspected. And also, there's a fire hazard in your house, and that is in this location just outside the dryer. In the back of the dryer, going to the vent, there's a buildup of lint that could explode in flames if you're not careful. And I know you haven't looked at your outlet for 15 years. Maybe it's time you had that checked. Call Ducks, the indoor air professionals, 876-9907, 876-9907. You, the negligent homeowner, you have a problem happening. And that job is free, by the way, free to you if you have your whole house done by Ducks, the indoor air professionals. Well, we're talking with Venessa Cole. Tell me something else about going into business for yourself. What is it? You're in the advertising business. Do you see, given your revenues, do you see the market, the American economy, the local economy going up or going down? Because media often is the first to detect, in advertising revenue, the future of the economy. What are your projections?
Well, for us, it has continued to rise every year that we have been in business. And I believe a couple things that sets us apart. One is we're more affordable than maybe doing TV or billboards. So that works out good for us. But something else too that's really beneficial for our clients is it's exclusive. So they get to lock out their competition. So that is something that a lot of our clients really like, specifically if they're being into advertising.
What do you mean exclusive? I don't get that.
Sure. For example, we have one CPA, Schultz and Associates. She is in 5 of our editions. She's been with us over 4 years. So no other CPA or accounting service can get in there. So.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you favor, if you have an advertiser in a particular field, you favor that person by sort of declining the business of other prospective advertisers who might want to get in, but you're saying, well, sorry, we want to favor the one we have now, who's this particular CPA firm. Yes. Well, that certainly favors your existing clients, and I'm sure that they're glad at the kind treatment. This is David Tulis, and we are at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Our argument is that you should love your neighbor and buy local. That is to say, favor the local SP, right? The local sole proprietorship or the local LLC, the local business, the family outfit, the family restaurant, the family tire change place, etc. And that is because we are Nooga-centric. Somehow we think that if we have this prejudice for the local, defiant of and ignoring of the national, that maybe we can be better off in the crisis ahead, the crisis and the loss of confidence in the national sector, inequities in the government-controlled economy, which is proving itself in many ways unworkable. We think that near is better than far, that small is a lot better than big, and that simple beats complex, I guess, with the exception being the smartphone. And also, we would suggest that personal is better than corporate and that physical is better than abstract. We've been talking with Venessa Cole, who, with her husband Randy, runs Coffee News all throughout Chattanooga and North Georgia. You'll find that in many little business places, car repairs, and attorneys' offices and stores, and bringing you up to date with the local small businesses that want to reach out to you. And that's what we're doing here at AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. Venessa, thanks for joining us here.